A woman named Kate is happily married to her husband, Evan. They are preparing for a party at their home to celebrate Kate's birthday. At some point, her hands weakened and she dropped her glass. All her closest friends were present at the party. Evan raised a toast to his beloved wife, saying that at 35, she looked even more beautiful than she did 15 years ago when they met. Everyone was having a great time. Kate, being a professional pianist, played for her friends. At that moment, she felt her hands shaking again. A year and a half passed. A girl named Beck woke up after a noisy night and realized that she was late for an interview. She hurriedly got herself together and left. Meanwhile, Evan was taking care of his seriously ill wife. Over the past year and a half, Kate's life had changed completely. She had almost lost the ability to move and could not do anything on her own. Her husband puts makeup on Kate, understanding how important it is for her. Kate is ashamed that her husband is taking care of her. Of course, Evan was not happy to learn that his wife had fired her latest nurse, but Kate assured him that she had already found a replacement, so there was nothing to worry about. At that moment, Beck drove up to their house. Seeing a girl on the threshold who looked like a frivolous teenager, Evan was puzzled. The couple asked Beck to tell them about her work experience and show them her resume. The girl took a crumpled piece of paper out of her briefcase. Evan immediately realized that Beck was irresponsible and did not have the appropriate skills. However, Kate wanted to give the girl a chance. As it turns out, Beck has been a long-time volunteer at a nursing home. Kate needs a caregiver who won't make her feel like a patient, so Beck is the perfect candidate. Evan explained to Beck how to properly prepare healthy food for Kate. He can't believe that he trusted such an irresponsible girl to take care of the person dearest to him, but Kate promised that everything would be fine. Beck chatted incessantly, and when she tried to make a vegetable smoothie, she made a mess in the kitchen. On top of everything else, Kate needed help in the bathroom. Beck was completely unprepared for this. Kate never ceases to be amazed by the girl's unceremoniousness and straightforward sense of humor. When Beck helped Kate get up, she accidentally dropped her. However, Kate didn't get angry, she just smiled tiredly. That night, Beck got drunk at a bar with her friend Jill and talked about her latest failure. What surprised Beck the most was that Kate didn't fire her. The girl dreams of singing on stage, and today, she has a chance to show her talent. However, Beck, like last time, got nervous and ran to the restroom where she threw up from stress. Beck doesn't understand what's wrong with her. Little didn't expect to meet a professor from the university where she studies here. Beck had already started flirting with him, but it turned out that he was married. Beck got drunk and left the bar with a guy named Will. The professor followed her and said that he was sorry. The man really likes Beck, but his wife prevents them from being together. In the evening, Evan said that he intended to return the previous nurse because she was perfect, unlike Beck. Before going to bed, Evan, as usual, helped his wife wash up. He is ready to do everything for her because it is his duty. Kate could not sleep for a long time, thinking about Beck. There is something about this girl that brings back the love of life. In the morning, Beck suffered from a hangover. She did not expect at all that Evan would call her and ask her to come back. Of course, his wife insisted on it. Beck was late every day, now finding various ridiculous excuses. This went on for several weeks. Evan thinks that his wife needs communication, so he wants her to meet her friends today and have fun. Evan works a lot, so he comes home late. In the afternoon, Beck took Kate in a wheelchair to the store to choose groceries for dinner. Beck admitted that she does not know how to cook at all. In the evening, Kate's friends visited. Each of them has a busy life, while Kate is not even able to hold a fork. At the same time, she rejects the help of a nurse. All her friends think that Kate is very lucky with her husband, who is ready to do anything for her. Any other man in his place would have simply left. Late in the evening, when her friends left, Kate asked Beck to bring Evan's tablet and check his email. Beck was embarrassed, but Kate insisted. She thinks that her husband is unfaithful to her, because he is often not at home. Her suspicions were confirmed. After seeing Evan's correspondence with another woman, Kate could hardly hold back her tears and asked Beck to leave. It was already late at night, and Evan was still not there. Having fulfilled her duties, Beck went to the bar and shared what had happened with Jill. Beck had never seen Kate so depressed before. Meanwhile, she tried to go down the stairs on her own, but fell. A few minutes later, Beck received an empty message from her. Worried, Beck came to Kate and saw her not in the best condition. The last thing Kate wanted was for her husband to see her like this. Beck cleaned Kate up, feeling genuine pity for her. Kate said she wanted to leave the house immediately. When Evan finally returned, his wife was gone. Evan found the tablet on the bed and realized that his wife had found out about his infidelity. Meanwhile, Beck brought Kate to her house, which she rents with Jill. Of course, her neighbor did not expect such a turn of events at all. Kate was constantly receiving messages from her husband but was not going to answer. Beck helped her lie down on the bed, and told her about her dream of singing on stage. But so far she is not doing well. Even her parents do not believe in her. Kate wished Beck good night. She, in turn, said that she was sorry about the current situation. The next morning, there were a lot of missed calls from him, but instead of calling her husband back, Kate asked Beck to take her to the nursing home. Kate wants to stay here so she won't be a burden to her husband anymore. Now, Kate blames herself for everything because it's not Evan's fault that she got sick. Realizing that this won't lead to anything good, Beck immediately took Kate away from here. She continued to say that Evan doesn't deserve such a life. He's 37 and healthy, so he should move on. However, Beck doesn't agree with this. In her opinion, no one deserves betrayal. Kate doesn't understand why Beck wants to help her. The girl confessed to Kate that she found a kindred spirit in her. Previously, she was only so close with her grandmother. Kate asked Beck to bring her to Evan. The husband, who was going crazy with worry, was glad that his wife had finally returned. However, his mood changed when Kate asked him to move out. Otherwise, she would move out. Kate does not want to live with guilt and constantly think about how she ruined Evan's life. When they passed Evan's secretary, Cynthia, Kate said that he was now all hers. After that, Beck brought Kate home. The woman said that today she may have made the biggest mistake of her life. Kate also assured Beck that she would cope with this. However, Beck does not want to leave her alone, fearing that Kate will do something stupid. Now, more than ever, she needs someone close. When Beck played Kate's concert on the disc, she asked her to turn it off. Memories of the past hurt Kate. That night, she felt very ill. Beck was at a loss, not knowing how to help Kate. She couldn't breathe. Beck called an ambulance in a panic, but Kate told her to cancel the call. When Kate felt better, she said that she didn't want to be saved. This was her conscious decision. After class, the professor continued to flirt with Beck and asked why she didn't answer his calls. Beck was offended, but in the end, she couldn't resist. When the professor found out that Beck was responsible for another person's life, he thought it was a joke and laughed. Beck left. To distract herself, she immersed herself in her studies. Kate was visited by a doctor who said that her deterioration was due to an illness. This process is irreversible. It won't get any better. One day, Beck tried on Kate's clothes and shoes. Kate has a gorgeous wardrobe, and Beck was delighted. Kate didn't want to switch to a wheelchair with an electric drive because it would be tantamount to admitting defeat, but Beck said there was nothing shameful about it. The girls had a lot of fun shopping and then in the pool. There they met Marilyn and John, a married couple. Marilyn suffers from the same disease as Kate. Despite this, the husband and wife looked very happy. It was obvious that John loved his other half very much. Beck and Kate agreed to go to visit the couple. Kate hasn't had this much fun in a long time. It is at such moments that she feels truly alive. All evening, Evan tries to get through to his wife and apologize. He needs to hear her voice. Evan doesn't even suspect that at this moment Kate is spending time in a bar with Beck and her friends. Will has been courting Beck for a long time, but she doesn't give him a chance. Will convinces Beck to perform on stage again, saying that she sings very well, but Beck no longer believes in herself. On the way home, Kate told Beck that Will was very sweet. She also remembered how she met Evan 15 years ago. Besides him, Kate was courted by a musician who wrote a song for her. Now Kate regrets that she did not give him a chance, but it does not matter anymore. Soon Beck and Kate were going to attend a party at the house of one of her friends, Kelly. Her daughter turned 5, so there were a lot of people in the house. Another friend of Kate's, Alyssa, recently had a baby. For all of these people, life is just beginning, which cannot be said about Kate. At some point, she began to have an attack again. When Evan learned about this, he immediately rushed over. He had lost weight and looked depressed. Kate told her husband straight out that she was not ready to see him. Evan swore that he did not see Cynthia again. However, Kate, whose speech had become very slurred, answered with Beck's help that it was not Cynthia and never had been. Kate loved Evan and was ready to let him go. He had no choice but to leave. In tears, Kate told Beck that she was increasingly losing control over her body. Kate had always wanted to have a child, but nothing had worked. Now it was too late. Kate admitted that she just wanted to scream. That was exactly what she did, and Beck followed her example. Kate felt better. At her next doctor's appointment, Kate heard disappointing news. With each passing day, it would become more and more difficult for her to breathe. Beck and Kate spent time outdoors, enjoying the fresh air. Kate realized that her days were numbered. Beck asked her not to give up, although they both knew that there was nothing that could help Kate. Thanksgiving was approaching. The girls wanted this holiday to be special, so they invited Marilyn, John, Jill, and even Will. It was a very warm evening in a small circle. At such moments, Kate briefly forgets about her terrible diagnosis and enjoys life. After dinner, Will asked Beck to dance. At this moment, Kate asked Marilyn if she regretted that she could only watch. To this, Marilyn replied that now she felt the taste of life like never before. Will confessed his feelings to Beck again, but she is not ready for a serious relationship. It was a surprise to her that Will can read lips, so he understands Kate without any problems. It turns out that his brother is deaf. When Beck was clearing the table, the doorbell rang. It was the professor, who got drunk and wanted to have fun. This time, Beck found the strength to throw him out. After some time, Marilyn ended up in the hospital. She got much worse. She no longer regains consciousness. Kate does not want to end up the same way and begs God not to let it happen. Soon, Kate's friends met with Beck to talk frankly. They do not trust Beck, believing that she has hidden intentions. When Kelly and Alyssa started talking about Kate's will, Beck immediately left. At Kate's house, she saw some woman. It turns out that Kate wants to hire a second nurse to make it easier for Beck to cope. However, Beck is not ready to trust someone else to take care of Kate. Later, Kate explained to Beck that it would be better this way. Kate does not want her friend to be distracted from her studies and from her music lessons, but Beck assured her that everything was fine. One evening, Evan appeared on the doorstep. He misses his wife very much and wants her back. Evan realized his mistake and promised to be more patient. Hearing this, Kate could not hold back her tears. She had forgiven Evan a long time ago, but she still did not want them to be together. Christmas was approaching. Beck was decorating the tree when suddenly her parents paid an unexpected visit. Elizabeth and Bruce were happy to meet Kate, and of course, agreed to stay for dinner. However, left alone with her daughter, Elizabeth stopped pretending. She did not like that her daughter was skipping classes at the university. Beck thought that she was doing something truly worthwhile, taking care of Kate, but her mother did not agree with this. In Elizabeth's opinion, Kate did not have much time left, and when she was gone, Beck would be left without a degree and without a future. Everything she had always done was doomed to failure. Beck did not want to continue this conversation. Back downstairs, Beck realized with horror that Kate had heard the conversation through the baby monitor, which had been on the entire time. Kate didn't know that Beck had dropped out of school, so she asked her to move out today. Kate only wants the best for her friend and doesn't want her to waste her life. These words hurt Beck deeply, who fears that there will be no one to take care of Kate. In the end, she had to leave. For the first time in a long time, Kate's mother, Gwen, visited. They had never had a warm relationship, but now Kate needs a family. A noisy Christmas party was soon held. Of course, Evan was there, as were many of Kate's relatives. Beck felt more alone than ever at that moment. Will came up to her and asked how she was doing. Beck shared that there had been a rift between her and Kate. Beck is having a hard time dealing with this. Will wanted to ask Beck out on a date, but she declined. She needs time to come to her senses. Suddenly, Beck received a call and immediately rushed to Kate. As it turned out, Evan is taking care of his seriously ill wife again. Marilyn died in the hospital, and Beck wanted to tell Kate about it personally, but Evan is not sure if this is a good idea now. Beck simply left him one of the letters that Marilyn's husband sent to all his friends after her death. Evan finally read the letter for his wife. In it, Marilyn said that thanks to her illness, she learned a lot about life and began to appreciate every moment. At the same time, John gives a speech at the funeral. He is very sad about his beloved wife. Gwen tried to take her daughter's hand. At that moment, Kate had another attack. She ended up in the hospital. Kate does not want the doctors to prolong her life. Her husband and parents didn't know what to do. Evan thinks that they should respect Kate's last wishes, but Gwen disagrees. However, it wasn't that simple. Beck rushed to the hospital as soon as she found out what had happened. She didn't expect that Kate would trust her with the decision of whether to connect her to life support. Beck went into the room to say goodbye to her friend. They held hands. Beck understands that Kate had made her decision a long time ago. However, Gwen was categorically against this decision. Kate wants to go home, but that would mean that she wouldn't live longer than a few days. However, Gwen was categorically against this decision. Kate wants to go home, but this will mean that she will not live more than a few days. The family still fulfilled Kate's last will. She wanted to spend the last days of her life with her closest loved ones and not in the hospital. Beck put Kate's hands on the piano and helped her play. For Kate, this was absolute happiness. The disease took away her music, but Beck gave it back to her for a moment. Evan cries, feeling helpless. He cannot be with his wife in the last 14 hours of her life, but he still overcame himself. Evan told Kate how much he loves her. After these words, he left in tears. Beck was with Kate the whole time, who asks her not to call for help if another attack occurs. Kate also asked Beck to promise that she would find a husband who would love her no matter what. Beck thanked Kate for teaching her the most important things: responsibility and love. Kate was the only person in Beck's life who believed in her. This was their farewell conversation. Kate wants to be alone. Beck cried all night. In the end, she couldn't take it anymore and rushed to Kate's room. Beck doesn't want Kate to go through this alone. Some time has passed. Beck still can't come to terms with the bitterness of loss. Will gives her silent support because words are absolutely unnecessary here.